Hello, members, and welcome to our second podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
So you probably heard the first one, hopefully, and we probably got good responses from it.
I'm sure you guys have given us excellent response and are waiting with bated breath to get into the meat of this podcast and
The girth.
Yeah, into the girth. And we've got a lot of great stuff lined up for you this time. By the way, my name is Justin. I'm the Anime Club president.
Rob, the vice president.
I'm Renee, and I'm PR. So, how was your week?
I've been busy getting ready for Kanji-Con, doing a lot of stuff in that regard. But also, I've been watching anime, and I've been playing a lot more Disgaea.
Sweet. I have not been quite as busy, and not have watched as much anime, and not played as much Disgaea, but I've been doing all those things to some degree as well.
I highly doubt you've played any Disgaea.
I played at least the level you made me play. That was sweet.
Well, I watched some anime, not as much as I wanted to, and I finished a visual novel, which I will talk about later on. So, anything else you guys want to say before we go to our topics?
Nah, let's get in there.
So far, we all know there's a lot of movies, anime-based movies, that are becoming live action, like a Ghost in the Shell and a possible Death Note film.
Ooh.
And then,
From what I know, the old Death Note live action's pretty dope. Can't wait for them to come back. Michael Bay styles.
Michael Bay is for the Evangelion one that's probably coming up soon also.
Are we talking about Japanese live-action anime movies or American ones?
American.
Oh,
Like
so
Avatar and...
Oh no.
Astro Boy?
Yep.
We all know Avatar's not an anime.
Then Scarlett Johansson's offered a Ghost in the Shell role, so...
When did that happen?
Just 2 days ago. That says Margaret Robbie is out and she's going in right now.
She's going in. She's going to
going
bring
in.
that Black Widow personality to, was it Sergeant Makoto?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting because I'm having doubts due to like the Dragon Ball Z movie and Avatar that I saw, which were pretty bad.
Well, we did see Dragon Ball Z Evolution and enjoy it immensely. At least if you were me.
I'd say it's either going to be amazing representation of anime that we all enjoy, or something equally amazing in the form of actual garbage being put up on the screen for everyone to enjoy. So either way, I'm pretty happy with this development.
Well, the problem with a lot of these anime movies is they're cash-ins, pure and simple.
Yeah.
We did have that recent film with Tom Cruise that was a manga adaptation of All You Need Is Kill. It was called, what was it called? End of Tomorrow? Something of Tomorrow?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Tomorrow
where he
Never
gets
Ends?
killed and he comes back to life.
Yeah,
and all
exactly, that one. And that was a really good film.
Edge of Tomorrow.
that.
Edge of Tomorrow.
There you
The
go.
jury is in. In that movie, though, they got rid of a lot of the cute anime girls and replaced them with strong women characters.
That's not what I expected to hear at all. Also,
No.
I expected you to say 3D PD, so... But so be it. So it'll be interesting. I really am curious to see how well they adapt these really famous animes into...
Is Death Note
So much
anything
more.
other than speculation at this point?
You're saying that it's kind of speculation. You're saying that Gus Van Sant will be the director, but he's known for like quiet and more subdued movies. So doing Death Note will be kind of an
Okay, so
experience.
it is confirmed though. It's not just
Mhm.
citation needed and you cite a Tumblr post and there we go.
Well, if it's said on Tumblr, it's going to happen.
Tumblr is tomorrow's news today.
It's like Wikipedia.
Like GoldenEye. I think that was the catchphrase of the evil genius news marketer dude.
Tomorrow's news today.
Yep.
Huh.
What was that movie? I know it wasn't GoldenEye, but I can't remember the name.
The world is not enough.
Is it that one? Or it might be that one. It's been so long since I watched any James Bond. It's one of the only James Bond DVDs I own, though, so I should probably know this one.
We get copyright. You're gonna take this podcast down.
Oh no.
A small price to pay.
Based on what I heard at Evangelion's, because I never watched it and I should. A lot of people are telling me to watch it. So how do you think if Michael Bay directed it?
Like,
Oh, that's real?
hypothetically?
I was just throwing out the name. I didn't realize that was actually happening.
He expressed enthusiasm for doing a live-action adaptation of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh my.
What a fantastic movie that will be.
My only regret for any Evangelion adaptations to this, like that might come forward out of Hollywood, is that Robin Williams died before he could be a part of any of them. And Robin Williams has been like one of the most vocal fans of Evangelion that's in the U.S. celebrity scope, which, I mean, it's really quite a shame. Any adaptation they make of Evangelion is going to be trash, I guarantee it.
Especially Explosions by Michael Bay and Epilepsy.
I mean, it's unfortunate that it can't be, but what role would you cast Robin Williams for in Eva?
I don't know that I'd necessarily
Shinji.
cast him as anything.
Shinji.
Shinji.
Oscar.
I do know that he would appreciate being, like, he would easily make a bid for, like, an executive producer credit or something like that. Because he loves Evangelion. He even shoehorned it into several of his movies. Like, in 1 Hour Photo, there's a scene where the kids... at a toy where there's a kid at his store, which is kind of like a Walgreens clone, and the kid's looking at Evangelion action figures, and he's like, "Oh, cool, Evangelion," and I was like, "That's so unrealistic. There's no Eva figures at the Walgreens." But you know, since Robin Williams was such a big fan, they needed like a prop, and he was like, "You guys should use Evangelion." It is interesting that Robin Williams did commit suicide as a result of depression, because that's a lot of the themes that Evangelion sort of uses and explores are the sum of Hideaki Anno's depression when he was working on the story. So Robin Williams found some identification with that in the film, or in the series rather. But maybe he didn't. That's all speculative at this point because we can never know anymore.
Gee.
Renee thinks it's just funny.
Some parts, but should I watch Evangelion?
No.
I haven't.
No?
I know it has a sad end, so I don't want to watch it.
Of course you should watch Evangelion. Everyone listening to this ought to watch Evangelion. And I could go into like what you should watch of Evangelion, but really it's a commitment that you need to make to yourself. If you're an anime fan, you gotta sit down one summer and consume Evangelion. You gotta watch the series, you gotta watch the movies, you gotta watch the remake, because it's all so key to the shape of the anime landscape as it is today, and it's still relevant and still, watched. So
Can I just watch the movie and now watch the series, or
you can, but you'd be selling yourself short. Not selling yourself short, but you'd be ripping yourself off.
such a great series?
I don't know. Seems like it's just dated film. Couldn't have anything modern or real useful to our modern civilization.
I want to watch Shinji. I always hear people say he's a wimp. But I'll watch it. That's one of the things I need to watch for sure. And then Kill la Kill. So I have to watch that. Which is
in the same scope of anime.
It's alternated. Get from drama to powers. With those
Episode by
clothes.
episode. First episode, Eva. Second, Kill.
It might be a little jarring, but you can
Actually,
probably pull it
just
off.
cut off alternating episodes. Just watch the first episode of Eva, second episode of Kill la Kill,
I thought you were
third
gonna
of Eva. I'm sure the story will seem congruent and make sense somewhere.
Somehow you'll mix them up and connect them together.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that.
Yeah,
That
thought
is
experiment.
entirely within the realm of things that a person could do. It does seem strange to me that someone would choose to do this to themselves.
Shinji loses his clothes and got stronger in the angel. Or something like that.
Shinji rips it all off. Accepts his naked self.
You mustn't run away.
Yep.
On the last podcast, we kind of bagged on Naruto, maybe?
Yeah, we love it. I love it.
Well, for everyone who loves Naruto, there's apparently a movie coming up with the adult Naruto there. So it's going to skip a lot. And it seems like it's going to be pretty interesting. So the synopsis for it is: the moon is getting abnormally close. If it is going on like this, the worst case scenario is going to collapse and cover the earth in a meteor shower. The countdown to the last day of Earth starts. Can Naruto overcome this danger? Naruto, the last episode is on the way.
Are you sure this is valid?
I am hesitant
to be released on December 6th. So it's real. So there you go.
I have not been happy with any Naruto movie yet. The only thing that's somewhat enticing about this is the fact it's adult Naruto. Like,
the drama.
Who knows? But yeah, no movie they've put out yet has been.
Won't this spoil the entire series?
The series is done.
Not yet.
It's going to. The manga's going to be done, but I think probably the anime is going to be finished soon. I'm not sure. I'm not following it, so.
So is this an original story?
Yep.
Put together by... Is the original mangaka involved in this in any way? Because that sounds absurd.
They're milking it.
The only thing I'd say that to its credit is that Pain has already used the moon as a weapon, essentially.
Pain
and actually Madara, Thobi, whatever you want to call them. So the moon is something they do like to utilize in the Naruto series for some reason.
Based on the cover of the poster they have, it seems to be like a lot of drama. There's some speculation of because Hinata's face is sideways. So apparently shows there's going to be some drama there. And there will probably be a link below if any Naruto fans are interested. Anything to say about the movie?
That plot synopsis makes me a little sad.
I feel like it's aliens coming for some reason, because I didn't watch it.
That ninja came from the moon.
I mean, I just have to think that it's the new... Oh god, what do they even call him? Ninja of the Six Paths? Whatever he is. The top tier, essentially god of this world. It usually has unimaginable powers and can mess with the moon. So...
You mess with the moon?
Yeah.
Control moves?
A lot of real up-to-date Naruto fans may be upset with my description of that, because I have not been keeping up, and all I know is
feel free to send us emails of what you guys think about Naruto, because we apparently don't know.
Non-stop hate mail. That's all we're gonna get.
Keep it positive, guys. You guys know what Niconico is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they have like a users ranks of the 2014 anime. So it's like a ranking of all of what they like in like a poll way. So first they have is Barakamon, which is a slice of life, which I watched and it was pretty interesting. Have you guys watched Barakamon?
I've not seen Barakamon. I did see that ranking. Wasn't most of it Fuchiyoshi bait? Nozaki-kun Akami? Well, maybe not. Perhaps I looked at a different ranking, but Barakamon, yeah, that's the one with that kid. Ed told me that he watched one episode and he liked it, and he watched a second episode and he didn't like it anymore.
It just got really slow. I don't know if it would be number one, but I would feel the Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun should be number one. Did you watch it?
I did, but I don't know. Some 4-coma adaptations I like, and some I don't like. And it really seems like a crapshoot for me, kind of. Like, I mean, Lucky Star was a 4-coma adaptation, so was Azumanga Daioh. And I love those together. But Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, I just couldn't get into as much. It's because these, I think timing is really important to making a good 4-coma adaptation. And I think that Monthly Girls drags out the jokes a little too much. But I very well might be alone in that opinion.
One I'm surprised to see on this listing, at least as high as it is third place, Akame ga Kill.
Why is that surprising?
We watched, I guess it was only the first episode, but our review of that at the time had been that it's very cliche. It had surprise gore, and it was just like... unexpected. It was kind of cool to watch, but just based on our first episode watch, I didn't think it was going to get that popular.
I was surprised too, because I'm watching this and I don't really have the will to catch up to it, just like watching an episode if I ever have time. It's pretty good, but it feels like you guys said, cliched in a way. That's just my feel on it.
I mean, it's probably the right assessment down here, 13th being Sword Art 2, but just I expected that one to be higher for how popular that one is. I mean, I guess these are slightly more...
These are elite
elite anime fans, so they might be above the hype, but that anime is just... It was huge.
Elite people who put Loco dolls in as fourth.
Oh, Ed will be proud. JoJo in 5th place.
Good old JoJo.
JoJo is sweet.
Isn't it kind of weird?
It is kind of weird. It's kind of sweet, though.
All I know is about the JoJo poses.
There's a lot of JoJo poses. They're all pretty sweet.
And we're all doing one now.
We should have a JoJo pose off at KanjiCon.
And this weekend in Niconico.
I think that would actually be fantastic.
Have a designated time for everyone to freeze and do a JoJo pose. Gosh.
I do respect this rankings a bit more than that one we had last week, the new type.
Oh, yeah.
Rankings.
That wasn't a user field ranking system, though. That was a committee of people that were deciding what the best film of the year.
Yeah.
All that.
And it was Sword Art and Kill la Kill just swept their whole board.
Sword Art, Kill la Kill, and Idolmaster.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
of course. Idolmaster.
Can't forget that.
I don't see Idolmaster on this list.
It's not 2014 because it's on the TV series. This is a movie. It will probably be probably 13. Replace Sword Art.
Just take it off entirely.
So far, most of this list is pretty good. And I'm gonna put this also as a link so you guys could look it up. Also,
Was it that YouTubers say link in the doobly-doo?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yep.
Yeah. Follow the links in the doobly-doo.
You sub for subs.
I did follow up on the one I was promoted last week. I watched a bit more of the Wolf Girl and the Black Prince. It's hard to say what I feel on it. It didn't get any better. It didn't get any worse. I guess if anything, it got a little more interesting. They started to reveal the Black Prince's Black history, so...
Black history.
The Black Prince's Black History Month.
So, in that regard, it's slightly more interesting, though, again, kind of to be expected. These characters do not...
Is this a dark history and a dark backstory?
Not too dark. It's just his mother's never been around. His father works late every day. He doesn't have siblings. He's lived a life of solitude. So
whoa,
that's why
spoilers.
All the spoilers. If you can muscle your way to episode 3 on the spoilers that I just gave you, there won't be any more spoilers coming in this podcast.
And that's why he wants a dog.
Though,
right?
to be honest, like it's not that unexpected. You've watched plenty of other romantic comedies that have a similar feel to them. The main girl is the only person in his life that is real. That's not just fawning over him for the sake of he's a handsome boy. She's actually just a real person. So that's somewhat promising. Though they did do something a bit different from the norm, and I won't spoil that. So I would recommend it still. I still think it's good. It just hasn't suckered me in any more than it did last week. That would be my appraisal of it.
I spoke on Amagi Brilliant Park last week.
Yep.
How many episodes had I seen up until that point?
Only the first and second.
Well, I've seen up to episode 3 now, and...
Did it get better?
No, actually, it got worse. And I'm really disappointed, because I thought Amagi Brilliant Park was going to be KyoAni's return to form. They released some Fujiyoshi bait in Free recently. Before that was Kyokai no Kanata, which was okay, and we had Shunibyo, which was also okay. But it didn't give me that KyoAni vibe that I was feeling back when I first started getting into their shows through Lucky Star and The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. And I thought Amagi Brilliant Park was going to do that for me. But episodes 2 and 3. We have some fan service, some poorly done fan service, in fact.
How do you do poorly done fan service?
How do you do poorly done fan service?
Show too much or too little?
No. It's all about the finer details, in my opinion. So when you animate some girls hopping up and down into like in cheerleading uniforms, you ought to have a little bit of bounce, right?
I don't follow.
You don't follow? In the case of Amagi Brilliant Park, it's like their chests were essentially glued on because they didn't oscillate separately from the torso. I know it sounds really...
This is what our president is.
I know it sounds really...
Maybe they have really good brassieres on your...
Yeah, really excellent breast tape. Whatever the case, that sort of took me out of the moment. But, I mean, that's... whatever. The larger problems with Amagi Brilliant Park come in the form of overly recycled gags, overly two-dimensional characters, and a number of other issues that I won't go into here. In all honesty, though, I will continue to watch it because I'm a sucker for KyoAni shows. It's just not... I don't feel like it's going to exceed my expectations or even live up to them in the way that I felt before when I knew the staff that was working on it in the first episode.
I just had a thought, though, and tell me if you think it's got any weight behind it. Haruhi was probably their first, real interesting, unique, and strange plot, but part of what really suckered a lot of people in was that it was shown out of order, that if they actually premiered it in the correct chronological order, the first couple of episodes might not have caught everyone's attentions. The characters were also kind of two-dimensional, slow.
Yeah,
so maybe the series could grow, could get better with time.
I think the real strength of the Haruhi broadcast order is sort of lost when you watch it in chronological order, because the broadcast order follows a story arc. You have the establishment of the setting and the characters, the rising action, the climax, and the falling action. And the broadcast order really nails that. You're sort of thrust into this new setting and have to connect some of the dots yourself. And I think that a lot of KyoAni shows are really good about that, driving that sort of engagement with the audience, because they know that their audience members are engaged participants. But recently, a lot of KyoAni shows have just been sort of spoon-feeding. So, I don't know.
I don't have great hopes for it to actually pick up and turn into their normal, or not their normal, but their Glory Day styles.
It might. I've seen 3 episodes, and each episode was worse than the last, in my opinion. But they still have time to redeem themselves, I think. And, with KyoAni, anything's possible. KyoAni finds a way, right?
We hope.
So probably this is something we could all talk about. It's a show we watched. It's called Parasite. So we watched 2 episodes last time. I don't think any one of us watched the 3rd one that came out today.
Not yet, no.
Nope. And I found that pretty interesting. It was not what I thought. It was going to be a pure gore and shock horror, I guess you could call it. But it was more subtle than I thought it would be. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah. Last week, Justin was praising it, and to some degree, I thought he was doing that just to spite me and my normal taste in anime. But no, after watching it with him and Renee, I thought it actually looks good. I, again, had the same thought he did, that it would be horror, gore, fright, but it's actually thought-provoking. It's got some very interesting elements to it, very unique style, so I do actually like it. I'll keep watching it.
I love that the voice actor for the Parasite is
Aya Hirano.
Well known for the voice of Konata Izumi in Lucky Star, Haruhi. I think she also plays a prominent fairy tale character, Lucy. There's been a lot of controversy regarding Aya Hirano and her sort of, I guess you'd call it her attitude. But she's still a solid voice actor, and she does a lot of good work. And knowing that she's the voice of the parasite on the protagonist's hands, it's hilarious.
I didn't know about that until Justin said it. So every time I heard the parasite, I kept on hearing and picturing Kanata from Lucky. I'm like, oh no.
Do you guys know the voice actress for Nadeko from Nisei Monogatari and Bakemonogatari?
Nanako.
Yeah. Not Nanako, Nadeko.
I know the name of it.
Yeah. So she's also in Parasite as the love interest for the protagonist. Yeah, Kana Hazana or Hanazawa. There we go.
She also voices Onodera from Nisekoi.
They've really got a great cast for Parasite, and the animation studio is one of our friends' favorites, Madhouse, and they're the guys that have produced Taiji and Akagi, and just recently they made Hana Yamata, which is a anime about
cute girls dancing.
Cute girls dancing.
I forgot the name of the dance, but
Yasakoi.
There you go. There you go.
So Madhouse, they're an anime production studio with a good portfolio behind them, and I think they're doing a good job with Parasite. And one interesting thing that I read was that this sort of reinvigorated interest in Parasite that the anime adaptation has brought is influencing the manga publishers to republish the manga, which has been out of print. Yeah, it's gotten good first impressions over in Japan too.
So going back to that, have you guys, when you guys watch an anime, did you ever go and check on the manga and try to go on from that?
Yeah, I usually check that kind of thing, but very rarely do I actually follow up on it. The only instance of that for me was Kenichi was my favorite 50 episode anime, and then
the Mighty Disciple.
Yep, the Mightiest Disciple. History's strongest. The end was different.
Wait, the manga ended?
No. Well, actually, maybe. I was saying the end of the anime was different than what I expected. That all of a sudden a very new element to his skill set was added. I wanted to see more of that, so I read further in. It's good. I haven't kept up with it, but I probably will look into it again one day.
One day.
I've always been an anime watcher first and foremost. My roommate is kind of the opposite. He'll read the manga, and he consumes a lot of manga and watches next to zero anime. The last manga that I found myself sort of just absorbing after I developed an interest in the anime was actually Nisekoi. I watched a few episodes of the anime. I was really interested and really impatient, so I picked up the manga and read 120 some odd chapters just while waiting for each week's new episode. It did sort of
Did you get spoiled? Don't you feel you got spoiled by it?
Yeah, I did actually make it so I was less interested in watching the new anime episodes as they came out. I did ultimately catch up with them, but it wasn't something where I'd wait every week for the anime episode to come out, watch it on Daisuki, and immediately. So there's a plus and minus to it.
Would you say you had any more or less interest in the series overall, both between manga and anime? The fact that you straight shot the whole manga through and then watched the anime slowly?
It's really sort of hard to say. I've read manga that sort of go nowhere before, and once I stop reading them, I don't find myself really incentivized to go back. So if I'm in the middle of a marathon, I'll gobble up the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter, But if I ever stop and I'm doing other stuff, I know that when I go back to that manga, it's going to be more of the same. So I'm not as interested in picking it up in that case. But I guess my short-term memory is like that of a goldfish. When I'm reading the manga, I'm like, ooh, man, this is such great artwork. Or I wonder if they're going to resolve this misunderstanding. Or no, I mean, that's the case. They do not. But the only mangas I've read over 100 chapters of have been Nisekoi, and there was a manga by the author of Midori no Hibi about a guy. About a guy who wants to assemble the perfect harem.
Prison School.
Oh yeah, and I also read Prison School, which doesn't really fit into the mold cast by those two.
The anime for Prison
School? They are
releasing
a Prison School anime.
Is it is it like assassinations in the school?
No.
No.
Prison School is a heavily ecchi anime or manga about a all-girls school, familiar trope, where that accepts some males in 1 year, and those males are caught peeping in the girls' locker room, and as a result, they're thrown in prison within the school. And the wardens are, girls from the school. It's got a lot of sort of fetishes that it touches on, like the most obvious being sadism and masochism. But it's actually, the artwork is really solid. And, if you don't mind the ecchi element that borders on hentai some of the time, it's a really hilarious manga. It's like a gag manga almost because of how absurd the situation is. And the resulting, humor that they're allowed to play with, which is all very, 17 and up.
So I assume like the girls are really into the role of being like a guard and all that.
Like there's one girl character that very much embodies that sort of sadist personality. But of course you have one of the boys that's a prisoner that's, a hardcore masochist. So punishment to him is anything but.
There was one great scene. I only read 10 chapters, but our main heroine jumps in, saving, air quote, saving one of his friends from extra abuse. And it's just like any heroic moment you'd see in a lot of other...
Our main hero, not our main heroine.
And then, so later that night, he's just eating his dinner, and then a guy comes up. You kind of expect the thank you. He's expecting the thank you. Nope. They just yell at him, "Why'd you stop him?
Why'd you stop her from, punishing me?
Stepping on my face."
There's a lot of humorous subversion of, a lot of like role reversal and stuff. So it's a pretty funny manga. But you do need to be able to, stomach the ecchi factor, of which, the ecchi factor is dialed up to 11 in this. Which makes me wonder how they're going to handle the television series. Is it going to be, censored all to hell and back?
Oh,
I'm thinking like 4Kids style. Just replacing objects entirely.
Detention school!
I think you just gotta wait for the Blu-ray to get everything that you want there.
Get that content. Oh, I did I am also keeping up with The Fruit of Grisaya. Have you guys been watching
caught up
that?
to that yesterday also.
Oh, okay. Anime? Yeah, it's an anime based on a visual novel that's actually being localized by Sakai Project, the same guys that brought over Clannad and Planetarium. And it's an interesting third episode. It really did sort of endear me to the main character. He's a good main character, I think. And I am sort of curious to see how the story develops.
It's more. I thought it was gonna be more serious after one part they mentioned like in the first episode, the assassinating, and then the deep story of that. I thought it was gonna be more like going on like another show, would probably be Akuma no Riddle, but they had it more like an assassination classroom thing to kill one person. So I thought it was gonna be similar to that, but so far it's seeming a lot lighthearted. But probably there's gonna be a lot like deeper past with each characters, and they all have like situation for being there, right?
Yeah, so if you guys are familiar with the visual novel Katawa Shoujo, where there's a harem, or not necessarily a harem, but different girls with different disabilities, physical disabilities. The Fruit of Grisaya is that, except instead of physical disabilities, they have mental disabilities. You have bipolar disorder and, borderline. There's a number of things. But that actually makes me want to play the visual novel, because the anime is confirmed for being only 12 episodes, which means you can't really delve deep into any of the characters, so...
Maybe just choose the animators. Just choose one route and probably animate it fully.
They could, but it's more likely that they do a sprinkling of every single route in each episode.
Yep.
And then tie it in magically together.
Real quick, I only watched 12 minutes of this one. I should have watched it all, but I had to leave, and I actually wasn't super interested when I came back to watch it. But Shirobako, the manga producers, the animation producers, actually, there were two things that caught my interest as really kind of different, but overall the series was not keeping my interest. The two things I thought were kind of cute was that I believe they just used their entire animation crew, like the real life animation crew, as the cast in this. Every character that shows up on screen gets a credit put right next to them.
Every single time, from even first and second episode.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Every character has real credits, and I'm thinking that they actually just used their animation studio to choose these names, and then they're actually crediting their animation studio in the anime.
Huh.
And second is the fact that the very first episode, they just throw you right in. It's their final year in high school, and they're it's an anime club putting together their senior project, their anime, and then before the credits even roll, they have their final anime produced. They've graduated, and it's so that whole part, the part that a lot of anime series would just take to be the full first season, they turned into 2 minutes at the beginning of the anime, and then right after the credits, it changed gears entirely. They actually went into this initial D.
Exactly.
This initial D sequence.
That drifting.
That was great.
That is. I have no idea what this anime is.
And the animation, I think the animation changed to go through similar to initial D.
So you've taken me from having no knowledge of this anime to being incredibly confused about what this anime is. So good job, you. Good job, whatever that anime is.
If you're confused, go ahead and check it out. You won't be much less confused in the first couple minutes.
I'm confused with what's going on now. And the name is Shirobako.
I probably will go ahead and at least give it the 3-episode rule. I have not done that yet. Maybe next week I can have more to tell you on the series. Maybe I can clarify a few things. So how about you? That actually exhausts all the anime I watched this week, between catching up on Wolf Girl and Parasite that we touched on, and that 12 minutes of Shirobako. That's all the anime I watched.
For shame.
I know, right? I should have done more. More research, more anime. I'll bring it to you next time.
The show that I watched was Cross-Age Tenshi to Ryu no Rondo. And in English, it's Rondo of Angels and Dragons. Well, the thing interesting about this, when I first watched the first couple minutes of it, I think there was a problem with Crunchyroll's sound, because they were having like a part when they're singing, and then the other characters are also talking, so they put it like one ear has the singing and then the other ear had just the dialogue. So I usually watch with one ear, so I was like really excited because they were actually fighting and then they're singing in the same time, because they actually show the main character singing with their mouth aligned with the song. I look in the comments, says the sound is off and everything. I'm like, what are they talking about? Just freaking awesome the way it is. And then I went over to it, and that kind of made me more hyped for this show, actually, more than it should. But in the drama, the action scenes and everything, it's pretty good.
So this show is meant to be watched in mono, is what I'm getting from you.
I think it was a mistake. I went back to rewatch it yesterday, and they fixed it. So, so I was sad by that.
That would have been an interesting sound design choice for an anime to take.
Left ear music.
Mono is king. We're bringing back cassettes.
And that had an interesting idea to it. Some parts you will feel hatred for the main character because of the way she thinks. Like, it's so...
One track,
but if you think about her scenario and the way she lived, which you call check the synopsis of it and then watch it, it's actually pretty interesting, and I'm liking it. That's pretty much what I watched, and then you guys said what I also watched. That's pretty much. And then I finished a visual novel called Koi Hime Senso. I got into that because I went to an arcade with some of my friends, and they had a fighting game for it. So I said, I remember this. It looks like some anime that I saw and I was planning to watch. And then I played it. I liked it, and then I wanted to watch the anime, and then I like the anime, so I want to play the visual novel. So this is my question to you two. You watched something or you did something and it made you like go beyond? It's probably badly worded, but like, okay, example, I watched Clannad. I like Dango, the ending song. I used to play guitar back then, so I tried to learn how to play it on my guitar. The excitement.
So, I mean, I get what you're asking. There's probably only 2 or 3 instances that's happened to me. The one that always comes to mind is after watching the 6 episodes of FLCL back to back to back to back, I was incredibly confused. I had no idea what I had just seen, and that's the only time after watching an anime that I just needed to read up on the scholarship to actually read what other people had thought over and had posted. I could not figure it out. I didn't know what the hell was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed to happen to me for like Madoka. I didn't know what's going on. I had to look in the internet for people giving suggestions of what happened. And I'm like, oh, so that's what happened.
I think the what you're describing, that sort of overindulgence, is really just part of the otaku mindset. It's why the current anime industry sort of fosters from releasing all sorts of different merchandise with the anime as the central selling point. So you can watch the anime and, why not also buy the PSP game? And why not also get the figures? And why not also get the Weishwartz deck? And why not also, and on and on and on and on? Because that sort of attitude is something a lot of nerds and introverts have. When they find something they're interested in, they get really deep into it. And I've exhibited it too in the past, and I think it's just a common occurrence with nerds and anime fans, because you see it a lot. Like, even outside of the consumption and the merchandising, you see people that like a show want to cosplay from it or want to make an AMV using the characters from it. It's just, I think it's how we do as nerds.
Nerds.
Not necessarily a great question, but just for you two, I'm wondering, how many times has your re-entering a series or anime that you really liked actually just been disappointing? Because the main example of that I could think for me would be, I absolutely love the Disgaea games, every one of them, they're great, but I couldn't handle more than one episode of the Disgaea anime because they changed things. That's not the story I had played and taken in. I just couldn't stand the changes. Like, how many times has that happened to you guys?
Well, I'll go first. I used to like to love Ru a lot. Like, back then, I used to rewatch it so many times, and I'll watch it before I go to school and after I come back. That's how much I liked it. And I try going back to it now to say, oh, which series did I like, and I want to see if I still like them now. I can't go through like 2 episodes of it without saying I'm done. It's too much for me now.
It's too much. Huh?
It's too much love.
So what was your question? If you're ever disappointed by revisiting something you thought you liked in the past?
Yeah. Or if one of the spin-off projects that they put out to collect your money just has not...
Something you did to collect your money. Huh?
Yep.
As you grow up, and I mean, a lot of people claim to have grown out of anime, which I think is kind of a cop-out, because anime is not a genre, it's a medium. So it's really, saying you've grown out of anime is the same as saying I've grown out of watching movies, or I've grown out of reading books. But I do find it interesting that you can rewatch something maybe 3 years apart from when you first watched it and see it in an entirely different way. And I think that does actually happen with a lot of stuff. My current favorite anime, Hyoka, I first watched when it was airing, and then I rewatched it with my roommate about 1.5 years ago, And on that second watch, I appreciated it a lot more. And that could be for a number of reasons. It could be for the fact that I didn't have to wait a week between episodes, so I could sort of take it in as as sort of a more wholesome experience. Or, and this is actually what my thoughts are, my experience in between the time that I had watched it and rewatched it had sort of informed my appreciation of it. Like, there were a number of people I met and a number of things that I had done in my own life that sort of caused me to look at the anime and sort of identify with it in a way that I hadn't before. So, yeah, to you guys, if there's an anime that, you know, you remember really liking, take a look back at it again as an adult, knowing what you know now, having experienced the things that you have since watching the anime. Oftentimes you'll find a newfound appreciation for the story and the characters. Other times, you know, like if you're rewatching Bleach or To Love Ru, hey, you'll think this is exactly as I remembered it.
Or better now. I finally understand what they're doing.
I like if you take the example of Bleach, it's all right. Watch it all. And by the time you're done watching it all, 3 years have passed. You can't start remember. Right again and have your brand new appreciation.
Yeah, that one sure goes on for a while.
Especially if you decide to watch all the filler arcs. That's a good decision right there. The bounce. We love the bounce. Everyone loves the bounce. And why wouldn't you?
I quit Bleach because of the bounce.
I think a lot of people did.
I did too. Then I went back to it, but I skipped that part. And just
it was a filler arc that took like 60 episodes.
And
that's what Bleach did wrong. Their filler was legit arc length. I hate
what is
every
a good
arc.
Filler?
The only anime that I really appreciate the filler in is Fairy Tail, because it's actually humorous. Again, it's not very it doesn't develop the story because they can't do that in filler. It's the manga's story and they can't jump ahead, but I think Fairy Tail filler took some liberties with the story and really just had fun with it. So Fairy Tail filler is not actually that much worse than the Fairy Tail normal story, which is quite fun. The other one that I think of is Soul Eater, because they did some ridiculous things. Like, anyone who's seen Excalibur will know that should not be part of the real story.
Really? That wasn't part of the real story?
It might very well have been in there, but it's filler in the manga if it's not if it is in the manga.
And a word from our sponsors. You know,
Kanji-Con?
Anime Club.
Kanji-Con is coming up. We do have some announcements for the Anime Club. This weekend is our Halloween party, or this Halloween weekend party. Was our Halloween party. And I guess we can't really go into it, but we can. Well. It went well, and man, it was great.
Oh, I'm gonna put this in tomorrow.
So the thing I would like to encourage any listeners to do is to sign up for Kanji-Con. It's in a couple of weeks, November 1st and 2nd. It's going to be off the chain hook.
And where is it at?
It's going to be at the Student Union, just like it was last year.
And just like he mentioned last week.
No one knows about that yet.
I don't know. Can you explain what a Kanji-Con be?
What does it mean?
What does Kanji-Con mean? It roughly translates into convention time. Jikan is time in
what is
Japanese. So if you've ever seen the anime Time of Eve, the translation is Eve no Jikan. I did take a little bit of liberty with the Japanese language in, you know, naming the convention, and it is very much a pun, but I think it sticks.
I feel good. Puns are better when it's explained, so that's why.
You think so?
Better now.
A lot of people don't feel that.
And is that all our sponsors?
That's all we can really talk about today.
All the sponsors that are present and can speak for themselves. We can thank all our other sponsors though.
Yeah, so thanks to Boba Tea Company, Oblo Yogurt, Boom Slank,
Squishables.
Yep, Squishable. And Kanji-Kan is the last on that list. So you guys definitely give them your support. If you do buy anything from these companies, please let us know or let them know that you heard about them through the UNM Anime Club. That'll sort of give them some positive feedback for helping us out with prizes and support.
Now it's question time from people who are listening.
And we got so many responses from you guys last week. We can't handle them all. We're gonna choose by random number
from random.org. It's our new sponsor. Okay. First one is from who is your favorite anime antagonist and why?
I kind of like L as an antagonist because of the sort of amorphous nature that the protagonist antagonists roles have during the course of that series, at least the first part of Death Note, of course. For a lot of people, L became the person you were rooting for, and I think that's a testament to how good a character he was, that you have the protagonist Light that's so morally questionable that the audience isn't necessarily identifying with him, which is why I think L is a really good antagonist.
Cheater. I was gonna say that too.
You were gonna say all that?
Not the whole description, but L was the... Well, actually, I was thinking Kira. I was gonna call Kira the antagonist, but...
There you go.
But no, that is probably one of the best examples. I'm still thinking if there's... There are other great examples. I just...
Gary Oak.
The first thing that
forces you to go to the journey.
Because it came to mind much sooner, I'm going to quickly answer this one. Least favorite antagonist is fucking every antagonist in Sword Art. Every one of them is a dirtbag with no morals, no moral high ground, no reasoning behind their crime other than the fact that they want power and they'll sacrifice thousands of humans to do it. What's a good antagonist? There's ones that definitely caught my interest in the past and nothing comes to mind.
What an impressive question. First one that comes to mind is Accelerator for me from Tuaru, Railgun, and Index. Because I found him very likable, his personality. Is he really an antagonist? Because I know in Railgun he becomes sort of an ally. Mm-hmm. So does he still remain as an antagonist still?
I haven't seen the anime nor read the manga, so I'm not the person to ask.
Well, that's my answer, Accelerator. And least favorite, probably like Rob said, Sword Art people. Could they go... Well, their methods are really bizarre.
I mean, this is a lame one. I'm going to kick myself after this because there will be a better one. But I'll actually go with Pain from Naruto.
He was cool.
He was really cool. Is what he did right.
Everything he said has pain in there.
Yeah. I mean, his obviously his fighting style was interesting. The fact that he took on the whole village, but his motive for his fighting was much more reasonable, much more defendable than a lot of other antagonists from a lot of other anime. Just so many people are doing it for fame, money, power, and that's just not interesting. That's not fun to watch. And in those cases, you just are waiting for the hero to take him out.
Answer that one. Next question: have you ever dropped an anime, and if so, why was the anime dropped?
Not once.
Not once.
Clear and total lies. Well, just because I probably have the most interesting answer to this is I've almost never finished an anime. I like a lot of anime, and I won't say that I've dropped the ones that I stopped watching. I actually still think somewhere in the back of my mind I should finish this, but it's not that I don't want to see the actual end, but there's so many different possibilities in my mind for what the end could be that I don't want to...
see how it's actually going to end.
I don't want to see... In particular, I just don't want to see a bad end.
You just want to imagine it like, oh, it went like this.
Probably the funniest drop I have is I've watched 142 episodes of 145 episodes in iShield 21, and they're just like in the third quarter of the final game. Like, they're still playing it.
Wait, so you don't know how it ended?
Yeah,
you're imagining how it ended?
I don't know how it ended. I never actually really came to a conclusion on how it should end. I just never finished.
So you just stopped?
I was actually interested in seeing the end, but I couldn't remember what was happening, so I started it up again from scratch.
Wow.
And I have not finished it again.
Gee. I don't think I ever dropped an anime, probably because before I actually watch something, I'm kind of like, I choose which ones to watch. So if I did watch every single thing that came out this season, I'll probably drop some of them, but I'm kind of selective to what I want to watch, and I watch it all the way, even though it could be good or bad. I'll still watch it.
So you haven't dropped an anime?
Well, I did, but I put it back on my to rewatch again. It was Shin Sekai Yori. Well, I'm gonna rewatch it. I heard good things about it, so I'm gonna rewatch it.
Is that the From the New World?
Yes.
Oh.
Did you watch it?
No, I dropped it.
For the same reason?
No, not for the same reasons. It was just moving along too slow. The world didn't really engross me the way I sort of like. I drop anime like that. Because a lot of anime, at least that's being produced nowadays, has nothing new to present or say in the way of like themes or characters. A lot of anime relies on the same old tried and true tropes, which, are fine. I won't say that there's anything bad about them. It's just, I would rather watch something unique as opposed to generic harem or generic shonen or generic, this, that, like or cliche, the other. Right? Yeah, I mean, cliched stuff is really like the easiest way to get me to drop an anime. But if it's cliche, but it does something
with it, like that's different.
That it does something with it. Like, that'll at least grab my attention, so I won't dismiss it out of hand. Mm-hmm. Like, I watched Akame ga Kill because of the gore, because it did something different. I dropped it, but I gave it a shot, right? Which is more than I could say for most of the shows that air every single season.
What would you cosplay as an opposite gender character?
Wow. Goodness. Do you guys feel like you have to stall for the correct amount of time so that you don't give the impression that this is something you always think about? Ani.
I mean, probably not. The only one that comes to mind because it's comical is Man-Fae. I could pull off a good Man-Fae, but
you could pull off a good Fae, like a good ironic Fae. Right? You dress as Faye from Cowboy Bebop.
Or just a character that's already a cross. Bridget or Maria Holic, but no, I don't think I ever... I don't even really intend to cosplay anything. Like, there's a couple characters I'd like to, but I don't have the body to do the characters I want to do. Like, Laharl being my favorite character from favorite game. Or at least favorite male character from favorite game. I just can't pull that off, though, so I'm not going to do that. And I think Justin's giving me a look because he wants me to do Etna. Nah, won't ever do Etna. Sorry, Justin.
I don't know that this is a necessarily a fair question because I don't cosplay at all, like even male characters, nor have I ever been especially interested in it. So, I do not know.
I would say no, but there is a character
I'm
thinking of cosplaying. It's from Darker Than Black. His name is Hei. Hei, not H-E. And he's a pretty cool character. And that's the end of that question. And you guys listening could think about that question and talk to yourself about it.
Think about...
Do you want to cross-dress? If yes...
I've seen cross-dressing in expos, and then I've seen the bad parts of it.
Try not to think of Rob as Man-Fae. I know it would be hard.
Rob, you've got no excuse. Frank from AZHP Gaming recently posted on his Facebook that he was... And you know him, right? You know how he looks? He's very similar to you.
Yeah.
Alright, so he's going to crossplay Homura from Madoka Magica.
Strong! I give him props. That's dope.
And, I mean, his rationale behind it is something I can respect. He watched the anime... and he really loved it. And he, even more so, loved Homura. So, there you go.
Can one character prevent you from not watching an anime?
Yes. Well, it's hard to say yes. There are characters that I hate so much. Like Lambo from Hitman Reborn. Like, that's like screeching, childlike chibi. It's just... he's so grating. I don't want to hear him at all. The only reason I didn't drop it is that I actually did get real interested in the other characters too quickly. So can I actually say that if an anime is good enough, that one character will push me off of it? I guess not. But there are characters that I hate so much that I really, really do want to drop it. And if the anime itself doesn't have anything that's caught my interest by that point, I will, on the spot, stop.
For me, it's from one of the characters from Blade Dance of Elementalers. Just the main character. What was the one with the red hair? She's like the typical tsundere character. But I think in that anime, they make her go like too far. Like her, like even though I know tsundere is supposed to be unreasonable at times, but she's too unreasonable. And her character is just pretty irritating to me. But I still watched it, so I guess I didn't drop it.
A character that's made me drop it. You know what? I typically, my reasons for dropping an anime might include a character, but I don't think there's ever been an occasion where I just couldn't stand a character so much that I dropped an anime that I would have otherwise kept watching. I can't think of any examples. I'm trying to think of characters that I just don't like. Or that I hate, but I'm actually coming up short.
One last question. Do you stray from certain genres of anime?
Yes.
As in,
can't put hint.
Watch them,
just avoid them,
or do you just avoid them?
Like avoid, like you search. I guess if they're trying to say, if you look like my anime list, they have like a little genre section. So if you check, like it has, I don't know, I guess you say shoujo or horror or any of those genres, if you see those, you just back off, like don't even like check it out.
Yup.
So what's the genres for you guys?
I mean, a lot of bad end style animes. Like I will never watch School Days. In reality, like I watched it on 16 times speed and got the gist of how terrible the character was. I know I don't want to see or hear him actually his logic. So bad ends, generally like seinen stuff where it's much more serious. Slice of life that has no driving force or action. Like some of these I don't actually mind. I won't run away from them, but I really just lose a lot of interest if I see that tag.
Mm-hmm. And then mine's probably be like josei, which is because it's like the seinen is to shonen and josei is for shoujos, and also some horrors. I'm not a big fan of horrors. That's why I was kind of skeptical about Parasite, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm not as picky as these guys. not in the slightest. I don't watch Shonen Ai or really Yuri. I don't get my rocks off by watching girls and girls, make patty cake or guys and guys.
I mean, it seems like more often than not, you do avoid shonen, big three style, anything that has a lot of fanfare going on.
Or a lot of episodes. So if more than 26 episodes was an anime genre, I'd probably stray from that. Because I disagree with it on a narrative level. Because stories, while you can break them up into arcs, to me, really inclusive, right? If you watch an anime, you ought to get the story. And I mentioned this earlier in the podcast where, you have the different parts of a narrative arc. And I feel like the more and more episodes you add, the harder it is to get that sort of digestible package within anime. Like there's one anime, Akagi, that's 26 episodes that actually stops right in the middle of a mahjong match. The anime ends. And I disagree with that also. So if an anime is, too long in the tooth or something like that, I don't really watch it. But as far as genres go, I'm pretty much open to, whatever. I'll watch a horror anime if I know there are good things to be, said about it. And, it extends to like reading books or manga or watching television shows. There's good stuff in all different genres. Whether or not you have the stomach for it or, the taste for it, I mean, that's up to you on a personal level. But I like to just watch and consume good stuff.
You heard to hear a lot of consuming. I think we said consume a lot in this podcast.
I said consume a ton.
We heard consume. And that's the end of our podcast. Probably after we finish talking, you'll probably hear an opening or ending of some sort. I'll explain that in description below. Thank you for hearing our podcast.
Yeah, thanks guys for listening. 引き継い